Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Ahead of the Apex. MotoGP is back, WEC is back, F1 is back, and Tim is back in the room, everybody.
Yeah, we are.
That's the wrong button.
Someone's changed the buttons.
No. That was disappointing, but I'm leaving it in. Tim, it has been like a month, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. I've been zipping around, traveling quite a bit. It's been fun. Had a great holiday with the parents. Nice family holiday in Italy. Actually, while Monza was going on, but unfortunately we were in the south, so we did not.
If you were at Monza without me, I'll be upset.
Oh,
if I ever find out you were at Monza,
I wish I was at Monza, but no, unfortunately not.
I cannot actually remember what we talked about the last time you were on a podcast, because before this we had the F1 review, mid-season review thing. Then we had the MotoGP one, which you weren't here for either.
No, there was one in between. There was one sandwiched in between.
Was that? That would have been just as the Czech Grand Prix and happened in the bikes, and just as Silverstone happened. Was it Nico's podium?
It can't have been that long ago.
That's only July.
That feels like a long time ago.
I mean, it's been a month.
The world
since
of motorsport moves fast.
It does, and because it moves fast, we have decided to do kind of. Well, you described it as an omnibus.
Yeah. I like the idea of an omnibus. It's this sort of taking these segments that we've been doing, chewing them all into sort of one relatively overview catch up to get to this point.
So rather than focusing on, this story from this Grand Prix, we're focusing on this story across multiple Grand Prix, which is kind of what we always set out to do anyway.
Yeah.
So that kind of works. First, we're going to talk about the bikes. So Tim's probably going to go a bit quiet because he hasn't been keeping up with the bikes. He is our WEC expert.
WEC man.
So he's going to run you through WEC shortly, probably. And then we'll talk about MotoGP first. Okay, so the second half of the season has kind of felt like a question of when will Marc Marquez win the title and not will Marc Marquez win the title. And I guess we kind of saw that from the outset. We've had 4 races, I think, since we last spoke about any bikes properly on this podcast. And the most recent of which was San Marino. So we're recording this on the Friday before Motegi begins, just to clarify. I know it starts at something like 2 a.m. in the morning here. But that's where we are recording-wise, and I can't really talk about that. And that was his first potential match point. So if he outscored Alex in the weekend by 10 points, he was able to win the title. That didn't happen. Shock. But let's take a look at how Marc has gone about it over the last few races, because he definitely should have had it secured by San Marino and didn't. So firstly, Austria. We'll go that far back. That was particularly tough track for Marc in the past, but the weekend began in usual fashion with Marc taking the fastest times in free practice. Come qualifying, Marc dropped it at the chicane, which meant Beschecki could take the first pole that he's had since India 2023, and that Alex was able to take second on the grid with Bagnaia in third. So basically all the people who've given Marc a hard time this year starting ahead of him. But the sprint was predictable. Bagnaia had a terrible start, lit up the rear tire, and his whole bike was wobbling throughout the entire race, so he had to come in and retire. Eventually, Alex got away at the start, which left Marc to fight Acosta. Acosta got through. Marc got through on Acosta, which left basically the 2 Marquez brothers to battle it out at the front, and we all know how that kind of goes. So Marc put in a good move with 5 laps to go. Alex was in second, Acosta in third, and Bez in fourth. In the Grand Prix, Pecco didn't screw this up this time, and Bez was able to maintain on his pole position, which left Marc fighting in third against Pecco. Eventually, Marc got passed, and that meant it was Marc versus Bez for the win, which has become quite a familiar story lately. As Bagnaia dropped back, Marc versus Bez heated up, with the Spaniard eventually getting the move done at turn 1. And then out of nowhere, Aldeguer stormed through the field, put a move on Acosta, put a move on Bez, and almost looked like he was going to catch Marc at the end, but Marc was clearly in cruising mode. And despite missing his toe covers, Aldeguer beat Bez to second place. Alex and Pecco nowhere to be seen anywhere near the podium. So not good for their title fights, with Bez in third. So on to Hungary for the first race at Balaton Park ever. This weekend was marred in controversy because it was a circuit designed for track day cars that was sort of added a few extra chicanes in to make it suitable for MotoGP. Marc took the first pole position at that track ever. Shock. Ahead of Bez, who has become Marc's nearest rival, really. And made it through from Q1, which was very impressive. Pecco out in Q1, not great. And Alex could only manage 11th. So nearest title rivals to Marc, nowhere to be seen. Bez still holding on to that fight. The sprint started and Quartararo took a bunch of riders out of turn 1, which meant that Marc basically had the easiest waltz to a sprint victory he's probably had all season. Ahead of the two VR46 Ducatis. Acosta was in the mix until he decided to launch his bike at a cameraman. And Marini took his best ever sprint for Honda, which was pretty good. Bez did recover to 7th ahead of Alex, and Bagnaia was out of the points, so not good for him. Not to be beaten on both days, Bez got a good start in the Grand Prix, put a incredible move on Marc into turn 2. I think there's a slow-mo of them making contact where bits of Bez's bike fly off and bits of Marc's bike fly off, kind of just marking his territory, I guess, which meant Marc dropped down to 3rd, but eventually did make his way back through. Then it was another battle between Marc and Bez in the dying stages, but Marc did eventually make it through to extend his unbeaten run of 7 Grand Prix victories. Alex could only manage 14th and Bagnaia 9th, so not great for their championship fights, really making it easy for Marc. Despite Bez putting on a good defense, you have to question whether, if those two had been in it for sort of 2nd and 3rd, whether Marc actually wouldn't have won, because 3 against 1 probably is something he can't fight against. On to Spain. So 2 poor weekends and Alex Marquez bounces back to take pole position, with Marc in 3rd and Bez in 12th. Another week where Pecco couldn't make it out of Q1. Alex got the launch he wanted from pole, as Marc was busy battling Quartararo and Acosta behind. Marc got the better of both of them and set out after Alex. But then Alex fell at turn 10 in the slowest corner on the track, and Marc took the victory unchallenged, continuing his dominant run, allowing Ducati to take the Constructors' Championship. With Alex down, you'd have thought Bez or Bagnaia would have been somewhere nearby, but neither of them were in the points. But Sunday brought redemption, which is probably what stopped Marc winning the title in San Marino, in that despite Marc taking the lead, Alex was able to make the overtake and pull the gap and take the win, despite them both chasing each other down and being a second a lap faster than anybody else on track in the dying stages. Bez slid out of the race, so not good for his push for, I think he can still get 2nd in the World Championship. And Bagnaia, decent enough race to finish 7th, but nothing to write home about. So then on to, well, it wasn't last weekend, two weekends ago, the San Marino Grand Prix, or Imola Grand Prix as it used to be called. Marc's first opportunity to take the championship didn't come with a big welcome from the Italian fans, despite being on the Ducati, and that's because the San Marino Grand Prix was filled with Rossi fans, and Rossi was there in the crowd with them. Bez took pole again, great result for him, ahead of Alex, with Marc in 4th place. Didn't stop Marc in the sprint, overtook Alex to take 2nd. Bez held off both of the Marquez brothers, who were trading fastest laps. Suddenly, Bez sort of fell back into Marc, who took the lead. Before Marc could even reach the finish line, he dropped at the last corner and slid headfirst in the barrier, and the camera cuts to a bunch of Rossi fans cheering, which has sparked its own controversy, but never mind. I guess they'll live it down when he's taking his 7th world title against this year's MotoGP grid, and he equals Rossi and whatever else. But the next day, how did Marc respond when Bez got the lead again? Marc started reeling him in. Bez made a mistake. That allowed Marc to essentially waltz through on Bez. And towards the end of the race, where Marc has typically been strong, Bez pulled him back in and chased him. And the gap at the line was just over half a second with Alex in third. This is probably the most human Marc's looked all season, this race. And it's a good sign for next year, and we'll get onto that shortly. But it is a good sign for next year that at least Bez and you could argue Alex and definitely Acosta, I've mentioned a few times in this last summary, is right on his tail, right? And it's promising for 2026 regs. To rub it in the Rossi fans' faces, Marc just hung his leathers out over the side of the podium in a proper Lionel Messi thing, which was quite cool. So he hasn't won it in San Marino, but how can he win it? So he currently has 512 points. Alex sits on 182 points behind with 330 points. There are 6 races remaining, 37 points per race weekend. So 220 available points. So for him to win it in Motegi this weekend, he needs to be down with a gap of 185. So Marc needs to outscore Alex by 3 points this weekend. So he can't win it in the sprint because of the way the points are distributed. But he can win it on Sunday, which I think would be pretty cool if he does. And I don't think there'll be any bad blood between him and the Honda guys, which will be nice. So a little bit of a MotoGP romance there with Marc and the Honda team. I think it will be a record breaker. So it's 2,100 days since Marc last took his title. It will take him equal with Rossi at the top of the standings with 7 MotoGP titles. Since his last victory, he's obviously had all those crashes with Honda and the injuries, and he's changed teams twice. But it now seems that this will just happen. And it will happen, and I don't think it'll even be a very special race. I honestly think Marc will just probably walk home to a first place on Sunday and take it. There's only Alex who can stop him, and he needs basically perfect weekends for the next four races, and Marc to have disasters for that to happen. What is interesting is that Alex might not even hold on to second because of how good Bez has been lately. And if that happens, I think it's probably a better sign for next year that there's some competitiveness, since Alex is now going to be on a factory bike next year. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So that's kind of a summary on what's been happening there. So moving on, the next story is kind of that following that success that Bez has had is that Aprilia is kind of back. So I've written this down on our little sheet because if I had to pick one team that isn't Ducati to talk about in this podcast, it would have been Aprilia. So they seem to have really turned around their season. I mean, they had a terrible time at the start of the season with contract negotiations, contract dramas with Martin, and a seemingly lack of performance that was putting off somebody who hadn't really ridden the bike at all from joining the team. It seems in the last sort of, not even after the summer break, but just before the summer break, that Bez has really been the only one who can match Marc. So he's taken 2 pole positions since the summer break. He's battled for the lead in both San Marino and Hungary. And you could say, oh, well, maybe it's just Bez. Maybe Bez is putting in a good performance. No, because Jorge Martin's ride at the Czech Grand Prix was a statement of intent. And his ride in Hungary was next to heroic. So just to summarize that, he took 4th place at Balaton Park, which would have been a phenomenal result for somebody given the amount of track time he's missed if he'd started anywhere on the grid. But he actually started from 16th and joked after the race that everyone was saying it was difficult to overtake at this track, and somehow he's managed to gain 12 places, several of which he took on the first lap. all we're really waiting for with Martin is for him to get that confidence back, to gain that one lap speed that we know is essential in modern MotoGP, because it can be so difficult to overtake if the pace difference between you and the bike in front isn't big enough. And it seems that all of that contract dispute and all of that drama and everything has disappeared, because Martin's relationship with Aprilia is now good. It seems like he'll be there on the bike next year, which is great. I think Bez and Martin are going to make a really tough set of riders to beat next year, if they can continue this way. And on top of that, I should also mention that KTM are seemingly sort of back as well after their struggles at the start of the season. Because in that last section, I mentioned Acosta on numerous occasions, and it's not even just Acosta; it's Bastianini as well. It's they've been a close third and fourth for the last few races. When Alex hasn't been there or Bagnaia hasn't been there, it's sort of been Bez and Acosta fighting Marc at the front. And we didn't expect that either, given the financial troubles that they had at the start of the season. So both of these bikes seem to have found a happy medium that they'll take to the end of the season. Which one is best, we don't know yet. The last few races will sort of give us all different track situations, surface, temperature, maybe even weather thrown in there, different aero balances. That will really let us know which bike, what the pecking order of the bikes is. But I think it's really promising that we've got these two different manufacturers who are taking it to Ducati, especially when we've kind of seen Ducati fall off a little bit with the GP25. And it's something that we've kind of talked about all season, is that GP25 is not the best bike in the world. And unless you're a superhuman alien rider like Marc Marquez, getting the best performance out of it is not the easiest. But yeah, while we're here, we may as well cover the other two manufacturers that are in MotoGP, which is Yamaha and Honda, both of which are making statement investments for the future. So it's been highly anticipated for all year is that Yamaha are launching their first ever V4 engine, designed directly to compete with Ducati for 2026 and beyond. And the honor of running that recently fell to Augusto Fernandez, who is somebody we didn't rate very highly in our mid-season rider rankings, who had a wildcard entry in San Marino, used it to finish 14th place, but was quite some way behind Quartararo on pace. He reported, "We have a lot of work to do to understand it, because it looks like the window is very narrow to have either a good feeling or a very bad one." He reported that the dash didn't work properly, which is quite funny, and that the fuel light was on for almost the entire race. So either the engine is really thirsty or there's a problem with the electrics. Yamaha then gave it to the 4 full-time riders the following day. On the Monday, there was a test. But it seems that it's not yet ready to race in 2025, so probably won't see it again, unless I think they might have another wild card, which they might use this weekend. That would make sense, doing it at the Japanese Grand Prix, but I don't know for sure. Consistency among its 4 riders was good. The raw pace was not quite there yet. But the potential is there compared to the inline 4, and Yamaha finally making this change is quite a big statement, because it will then trickle down through their road bikes as well, which is something they've never done. So Miller reported the old M1 was strong in the corners. We are now trying to find a new bike balance in terms of geometry, weight distribution, and all those aspects. The bike is doing all the right things. Now we just need time. I don't think this is the silver bullet Yamaha think it is. I don't think they're going to make it, hit the ground running in 2026 and take all these victories. But the regs are pretty much frozen for next year for MotoGP, so it will help them, that's for sure. Their main competition is going to be Honda, though, who have again broken with tradition and sort of they've poached or hired the KTM engine chief, giving him a European workshop and basically free reign to develop the best he can, which is something they've never really done in the past. So both of the Japanese manufacturers sort of breaking from tradition here and realizing that if they're going to get back to the front, they need an engine that can compete with Ducati and KTM, and breaking with their philosophy. So To summarize, the future of MotoGP is pretty bright, and I'm kind of here for it. I'm kind of excited. Are you not recording yourself?
Oh, I completely forgot.
Man, you've taken a month out of this.
It's amazing how it all just forgets.
You've just let me spiel off about the bikes because you haven't watched the bikes. And now you're not even prepared from a video perspective. Who are you? And what have you done with Tim?
Right. No, honestly, I'm back now. I'm back for good. Everything from now on moving forward will be professional and organized. We'll check back on that claim next week.
Okay, Tim, do you want to introduce the Formula One topics?
Yeah, let's do that. So F1 has been exciting.
It's been real spicy.
It's been really spicy. I think what, dare I say it, was looking to be or to start becoming a bit of a stale season. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, someone threw about 50 chili peppers in it.
Oh, yeah.
Carlos and it's all exploded.
Threw some spicy chilies from his helmet in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have 2 races to talk about. One of them is Monza.
Yes.
And one of them is the Azerbaijan in Baku.
Technically, we didn't talk about Zandvoort.
Okay, fine.
But I kind of don't have much to say about Zandvoort.
Zandvoort was the peak of, okay, the season is done. Everything is a bit boring. It
kind of looked like it was going to be done, right? Oscar won the race. Lando DNF'd. That made me happy.
Both the Ferraris
DNF'd.
died.
Yeah. Who did it better, Charles Leclerc or Lando Norris sitting on the side of the track?
Well, I think trendsetters speak volumes. I think the shot of Charles in the camping chair was just epic.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was there for so long.
Yeah, because where was he supposed to go? The paddock was literally, he could probably see the paddock from there because it's inside of turn 2,
but
right?
he couldn't cross the track.
He couldn't cross the track because that's a billion
pound
euro fine. Plus you'll be plastered all over the front page of the Daily Mail or whatever it was that happened to Lewis when he did it. Yeah.
But and we have another candidate in the sitting on the sidelines.
Well, we'll get there.
But we'll get there. We'll get there.
First, who are we starting with?
I think we should start with Max Verstappen.
I agree.
Because he really, as if there was any doubt, just decided to show up.
But so quietly as well, because his main focus the last 2 races, in between, so correct me if I'm wrong, but in between Zandvoort and Monza, he went to do his Nürburgring license. Or was that between Monza and Baku?
That was between Monza and Baku.
And then this weekend, while there's no racing, he's competing in a endurance race.
Yeah, his first one. Now that he is now qualified.
So he's kind of like aura farming in WEC, but not WEC.
He's just, right. Let's set the scene. I think we're jumping a bit. So obviously the Red Bull car has not been in the place that Max wants it.
Yeah.
He has admitted to struggling, which, at that point, something must be really bad.
Yeah.
We also got a glimpse of the old Max, well, the Max that we thought we'd left long ago.
That was Spain. That was a long time ago.
That was Spain. So when he got a bit fiery and he got a bit impatient and was being a bit immature and decided to vandalize George Russell's car while George was in it. And this was all sort of just frustration. Since then, obviously, Horner's left.
Yeah. God, quite a lot of
things shaken
season,
up.
Isn't it?
And
we really picked a good year to
restructuring of the team. Yeah. So pretty big restructuring of the team. And the first real upgrade that they were going to bring under this new leadership was in Monza.
In Mekis we trust.
In Mekis we trust. And of course, in typical Max style, was downplaying, the car's not anywhere. It's a small upgrade. But spoiler alert, if you are a month out of date, he went on to win the race. Okay, 3 weeks out of date. But he went on to win the race. And win the race rather comfortably at that.
19 seconds.
Which is one of the larger margins of the year.
Yeah.
And of course, those margins have been so close because it's normally been the McLarens who have been there or thereabouts with one another all year. And Max just went, look, I'm a bit bored now of you guys
winning everything,
having all the fun, stealing all the radio waves, and I'm going to just show up. And
show up he did.
Show up he indeed did. So that's a bit of context.
What happened in Baku?
Baku is when this stuff goes supersonic because lap 1, Oscar jumps the start.
Yep.
Then sits there like a lemon for a bit.
Yep.
Ends up at the back of the pack.
Yep.
Is angry driving his way through.
Yep.
In the space of 3 corners,
puts it in a wall.
Makes more overtakes than Lando in the entire race.
Yep.
Then puts it in a wall.
Yep.
Then starts aura farming on the side of the
on
the side of the road, having grabbed a marshal's phone to watch the rest of the race.
Yep.
So suddenly, Max is in a strong position.
Well, you would have thought that Lando would be in a strong position.
But of course, Lando failed to qualify well.
Yep.
Because McLaren just got it a little bit wrong on the Saturday timing-wise.
Yeah, so this is the right time to talk about this, even though we're going to talk about McLaren later. Spoiler. But Lando said he was worried about taking too much risk with 6 red flags in qualifying. So decided to do a safe lap. But if he'd have risked his lap and accidentally put it in a wall, 2 phenomenal things would have happened. First of all, he would have only dropped 1 place. So risk reward, big. And Carlos Sainz would have been on pole.
Wow.
If Lando had just grown a pair.
Or Lando would have been on pole.
Orlando would have been on pole. Yeah. If it goes wrong, right? If it goes wrong for him, he loses a place and Sainz gets pole position. If he gets it right, I don't think he had the raw pace to beat Max, but Max gets pole and Lando is second, and Lando still brings it home for second because let's be honest, he would have had the pace over George.
Indeed. Yeah.
So
for sure. Was it a bit of mind games? Or not mind games, but internal pressure and nervousness. I think especially having had Piastri crash, was there a bit of, maybe the car's not so strong, maybe we've not got as much grip as we thought.
Maybe he's also thinking back to Zandvoort where, he DNFs and gets a big fat 0 next to his name, but Piastri gets 25 and he's looking at it going, I could take the risk, I could still end up with a 0 and then that's 2 zeros in the last 3 races, or I just take a handful of points and I hope for the best. I don't know.
It all felt weird. But hang on, right. We're
Red Bull
McLaren.
focused.
We're Red Bulling now.
Yeah.
So Max, Oscar's out the race.
Yeah.
Lando is down in P7.
Yeah.
And Max is looking quite comfortable.
Just pulling away, cruising.
Never looked worried. And of course, the expected charge of the McLaren was attempted but not met.
I don't think Lando overtook anybody, did he?
I think
the Ferraris. The Ferraris.
He overtook Charles. Definitely.
No,
I think
because Charles started behind him. Because Charles went out first in Q2.
He overtook a Ferrari.
I think Charles overtook him at the start of the race, and then he re-overtook him. But I don't think Lando actually gained any places.
Yes, maybe.
Because he finished
and he
seventh,
overtook a
right?
Ferrari at the end.
Yeah, was that Lewis?
I must have been.
Yeah.
But Max then gains a bucket load of points. Piastri's obviously gained nothing. Lando's gained 4 or 6 points or something.
6, I think.
And Max comes home 25. So suddenly...
I should say as well, that was a Grand Slam.
It was a Grand Slam.
It was led every lap, took pole position, set the fastest lap. Grand Slam from Max.
Which is always a huge accomplishment.
Yes.
And actually, what are the statistics on Grand Slams? Because I think, for example, Lewis only has like 6.
I don't know. Do you want to keep going and I'll look it up?
Yeah, do some Googling. But it just really reignited. And again, I say reignited, but Josh has got a shocked face.
Okay, do you want to know who's got the most?
Max Verstappen.
No.
Okay.
No. It's arguably less impressive, this. But
is it Lewis?
No.
Okay.
So the criteria is pole position, wins the Grand Prix, sets the fastest lap time, and leads every lap of the race.
Yeah.
Okay. Michael Schumacher is not first. He's actually 5th. He only has 5 only.
Oh, pathetic.
But technically that's tied for 3rd, but it's 5th because Alberto Ascari did it first.
Fine.
Right. So Schumacher is 5th because he did it later.
Fine.
But arguably more impressive because of the competition getting better, right?
Yeah.
3rd place, Max Verstappen.
Which is crazy.
With 6.
Okay.
Tied with Lewis Hamilton.
Okay.
In 2nd place because Lewis did it first.
Yeah.
1st place. You want to take another guess?
I don't think it'll be Senna. I don't think it'll be Prost.
No, because they were too competitive against each other.
Exactly.
Think of a dominant period in time.
Seb.
Nope. More dominant. Because of the competition. We're talking an old driver.
Fangio.
Not quite. The next dominant
driver.
Was
the next bloody one? Name is escaping me at them.
Jim Clark.
Oh, okay.
Jim Clark has 8.
Yeah, but Jim Clark was the greatest driver of all time.
Yeah. All right.
When you consider he did 7 different categories per year and whatever.
Right. So he has the most. But again, it's arguably more impressive that Max and Lewis have got 6 because they're doing it at a time when the gap between first and last is less than a second.
Yeah.
Ascari's doing it when the gap between first and second was
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Okay. So Max has a great race and is now 2 races, crushed both of them, very convincing. And even before Monza, it was still possible, I think, for him to win the championship, assuming he won every single race and every single sprint race.
Yeah.
Now he's two opportunities and two times that he's done that is now looking quite likely. And of course, Max is quite a momentum driver.
Yeah.
He loves
how can
riding
he get
a
there,
wave.
right?
Yeah, how can he get there is really the first topic that we wanted to discuss.
Yeah, so we've kind of discussed the results. We'll discuss how Red Bull have turned things around, but let's do how can Max win the title. So if we assume worst case scenario for Max is that he wins every race.
God forbid. How terrible.
How bad must that be? And every sprint race.
Oh.
And the McLaren's 2-3 every race.
Yeah.
So that's worst case for Max. He needs Piastri to be 3rd in every Grand Prix. He can only afford Piastri to finish 2nd in 2 sprints and the last race of the season. Or a race.
Okay.
Essentially. So Piastri can't get more than 1 second place in a Grand Prix and 2 second places in the remaining 3 sprints. Okay?
Yeah.
And Max needs to win everything.
Okay.
Lando has to fill in the gap. And Max still wins.
Okay. So it's still crazy unlikely.
But that's a perfect race. That's a perfect season, end of the season for everybody in that situation. Because we've seen over the last 3 races that McLaren can't decide which driver's going to win, and Lando's DNF'd and Oscar's DNF'd, and Max has been there.
Papaya rules. It seems as if Max has turned around and gone, look, I can see you guys are a bit confused
as to which one of you is going to win and how to win.
Let me just take that burden off your shoulders and I will do it.
So I was talking about this with somebody recently. I can't remember a time when one driver won all the titles in an era, in a regulation era. Because it's certainly not happened in the modern era.
No.
Turbo hybrids. Even if you look at the turbo hybrids 14 to 16, Rosberg won one.
Yep.
If you look at them as a whole, it was Lewis, Max, and whatever, right? If you look at those big fat aero cars, Max won the last one, and Lewis won all the others. If you look at the...
But it looks like... Oh, you mean those big fat aero cars? I thought you meant the big fat aero cars now.
No. I'm talking about the ones that were
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah. You can kind of bring 2016 into the same regulation change that happened in 2009, where the cars got really tall on the wings and really big wings. But even then, if you go 9 to 13, it was Button and Vettel.
Mm-hmm.
And before then, you've got Raikkonen, Hamilton, Schumacher, Alonso, Hakkinen, you know, and then you're going back into the 90s when it was just champion changed every year. And I can't honestly think of a regulation era where a driver's dominated all of them. So if Max wins, that might be a first.
Yeah. And again, look, it is not looking likely. Don't put your money on it.
Put your money on it.
This is not
Stake
financial
your mortgage
advice.
on it. Toto Wolff thinks Max is going to win. So
did he?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be... He is just
Toto
staring.
Wolff warned McLaren not to discount Max Verstappen in the last, 8 races, or however many we've got left. 8 races? 7 races. 7 races. How did they get here, Tim? That's the biggest question. And let me take you on a story, because it starts after the Hungarian Grand Prix, when Yuki Tsunoda called up Jet2 holidays, despite there being £50 per person off right now, which is a £200 saving for a family of 4.
Do you know, I got a new one.
Yeah.
I got a new one, which was £60 per person within a couple. £110 off for a couple.
That's £55, bro.
Maybe it was £120 then. I remember it being 60. I remember it being a bit more.
Okay.
And I thought, oh my God.
That's pretty good.
There's a new one. You're
That's
joking.
Pretty good. So Yuki calls up Jet2, cancels his holiday and says, no, I'm gonna delay my holiday, and while I'm still fresh off the bat of racing, I'm gonna go back to Milton Keynes, sunny Milton Keynes in July, and I'm going to go on the simulator and live in a dark room for a few days. And he discovered something that he won't tell the world. But
his penis.
But since then, Red Bull have made the changes. And I don't know if you've noticed, but Yuki
crushed it in Baku.
Yuki's been there. You know?
Yuki has for the first time hit his expected
target.
He came 5th, I think?
6th.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
But come on, he was there.
Look, considering he had previously been bum last,
yep,
with no real hope, yeah, it was a huge improvement. Very stark improvement.
Ted Kravitz, Big Ted, would have you believe...
Ted of the Notebook.
Of the Notebook, would have you believe that the changes have come from floor upgrades. But...
maybe he watched the F1 movie.
It has been noted... It has been noted that Max Verstappen was running a massive front wing and a really, really skinny rear wing in Baku.
Yeah, very low downforce setup.
But pointy. Very pointy. Like a missile.
They looked at a spaceship and went,
it needs to be pointy.
Take me to the moon, baby.
Which is how Max likes to drive. But Yuki was running a much more balanced one. And in Monza, they were running very, very, very skinny rear wings. And Max had a slightly bigger front wing on. And it seems they have found the cure to the Red Bull 21.
Yeah, is give Max the pointy front end, but don't force it upon the second driver.
And if that's the case, McLaren best be terrified because nothing stops Max Verstappen.
Immovable object, unstoppable force.
Yeah.
I don't think Lando Norris is an immovable object, though.
It is giving VCARB a bit of a headache, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think pre-Baku, it was a real problem. And there were all of these conversations that were starting about Hadjar, who, of course, rookie year, has had a phenomenal year.
We haven't even mentioned his podium.
We haven't even mentioned his podium.
He got a podium.
Yeah.
On merit.
And very well deserved.
And almost beat Max Verstappen.
Because, of course, everyone said, oh, he's quite out-qualified the car. Brilliant. Good job. Young rookie, hungry.
He'll finish 6th.
He'll drop.
Yeah.
And just didn't refused to drop.
Yeah, okay, he should have finished 4th if Lando hadn't had his issues.
Yeah, with the poor
but one may argue that these F1 cars are highly reliable machines these days, and any mechanical errors are partially to blame on the driver and the way the driver drives them. Therefore,
it's also a shame because I really think that Hadjar should have just stopped and got out of the car when Lando broke down, just because that would have been fair.
You mean Piastri, right?
No.
Oh, Hadjar. Okay.
I mean Hadjar.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, actually, the whole grid. Well, they should have just stopped the race.
Because it's not fair that Lando had a mechanical.
Yeah.
It's weird because Lando having a mechanical, which McLaren are blaming on Mercedes, even though the other Mercedes cars finished the race just fine and haven't had any issues since Monaco. But sure, blame it on Mercedes. Sorry, I just went into a real conspiracy world there. It was weird. It's funny that you say that because McLaren really should have called Mercedes and told them to retire all of the Mercedes-powered cars for fairness.
Yeah, because it is unfair that other Mercedes are not exploding.
Yeah, so it would be unfair for the other Mercedes cars to gain on Lando in the championship because of something that
was Mercedes' fault.
Yeah. We are, of course, being deadly serious. Back to VCARB.
Yeah, so Hadjar has had a great season. I think of all the rookies, and we will do a big conversation about the rookies toward the end of the year and do a big overview. I mean, they've all been great.
Yeah.
Except Behrman. But they've all been great. And the two that really outshone or shone were Hadjar and Bortoleto. I think both came into packages.
Not even Antonelli.
I think Antonelli has underperformed considering the package he's in.
Okay.
This is why I said we'll have a wider discussion.
You really should have been here for the F1 mid-season.
I wanted to just sprinkle some souls.
Yeah.
We'll come back to it. But okay. I think Hadjar and Bortoleto, maybe not. Hadjar across the whole season.
Bortoleto more recently, yeah.
Bortoleto more recently.
Yeah, okay.
I think Kimi had a decent start, but
if you were to fuse Antonelli's first half with Bortoleto's second half, I think...
if you fuse Antonelli's first 3 races
with Bortoleto's last 6, you have the perfect season for a rookie. Yes, no, I agree.
Yeah, but Hadjar's been great. Obviously, Yuki was looking to have just not really had what it took and was consistently underperforming.
I would be interested to see how Yuki would have performed this year in that RB.
Probably killed it.
If they'd just left it.
Probably killed it.
And I really think... So the problem VCARB have is Arvid Lindblad, who is an 18-year-old kid who's going around telling the press he's got himself an F1 drive because he dislikes Lando Norris. I'll give him one. I'll give him an F1 drive if he continues saying that. No, so Arvid Lindblad, for those who don't know, he's currently 7th in the F2 title, which is not that impressive. I'm not going to lie. He's won 1 race this year, and he's 18, and he's British. He's a Red Bull junior
Here comes
driver.
British bias yet again.
Yet again rearing its head. He has the right passport for this job.
Oh, baby.
According to the FIA. Not us. He has been telling the Daily Mail that he's got an F1 drive.
Of course, if you want to break a story, the first
Daily
people
Mail.
you think of are the Daily Mail.
Yeah. If you Google F1 stories right now and then Daily Mail, there are two. There is Arvid Lindblad's story and there is Lewis Hamilton's dog, which is a bit of a sad story. And I'm not even going to make a joke. But the Arvid Lindblad story is a tricky one because it basically means that Red Bull have got 4 drivers to fill 3 seats because Max is confirmed and locked in for 2026. Yuki might be the one to suffer because Liam's had a cracking season since he went back to VCARB. Hadjar, as you said, is probably next in line for the throne of pain and suffering. And even if he's not, even if this, whatever Yuki does in the next 7 races is enough, what do they do about RB? Because RB have got Lawson and Hadjar. They're not going to get rid of Hadjar. They get rid of Lawson? No. Surely not.
The whispers were that it was Yuki and Lawson fighting for.
Yes, the
their
whispers.
futures.
The whispers are Hadjar's got that cursed chalice of the second Red Bull seat after Yuki's put so much work in to finally make it happen.
And also, it seems unreluctantly because Hadjar was asked and he sort of went,
No.
it'd be so cool. But maybe not now. So I don't think it wasn't like Yuki who was just absolutely desperate. He was like,
Yuki's been
please.
banging down Helmut Marko's door for the last 3 years trying to get himself in that Red Bull car.
Yeah.
And then the moment he does, he bins it in qualifying in Imola. And that's...
Yeah, exactly. So they do have a bit of an issue. And I think actually the only person that can get them out of their issue is Yuki. If Yuki does start performing really well, I think they leave things as they are. And eventually Max will trigger the next set of changes because
Toto Wolff wants him in his car. Is that where you're going with this?
Well, because I think those rumors have died completely.
They haven't died.
But, well, they've been silenced dramatically.
Have they? When was the last time you checked Kimi Antonelli's contract negotiations? I haven't seen a contract yet.
But this is my point. I think there is still. I think Max will still leave. I don't know if it will be this year, or end of this year, or if it will be next year. But
I wonder if he goes to Ferrari next year. Not next year, the end of
Max?
next year. Yeah, I think
to replace Lewis.
to replace Lewis. Lewis is a broken shambles of a man by the end of next season, regretting ever not listening to Sebastian Vettel, who told him not to go to Ferrari, and then did anyway. And I
that
think
would
Lewis
be
retires.
crazy. Charles still never gets his shot. Bless him.
Oh dear.
But
I actually genuinely think that Max ends up in McLaren when Oscar leaves because they let Lando win the World Championship. Whoa. At the start of the season, I said it would be the other way around because I think Lando would leave if Oscar wins the World Championship, but I don't think McLaren are going to let that happen anymore. So
it's actually a good point. I mean, can you imagine Lando Norris? You wake up, it's a crisp morning, March 2026. Lando Norris looks up at his silver medal from the previous year's World Championship, gets into his car, drives to Woking.
Hands in his notice.
I just can't picture that.
I can't picture it either.
I think he thinks too highly of himself.
I'm picturing a crisp March morning. Lando Norris wakes up. There's a new message pops up from Zach Brown on his phone.
We've made a trade.
Lighting up the picture of him and Zach holding the World Constructors and Drivers Trophy from the presentation night where they had too many drinks and touched each other inappropriately. And then he gets in his car, his new Lando Norris signature #1 gold McLaren Speedtail, whatever it's called, drives to Woking to meet his new teammate Max Verstappen at the gates.
and then they shake hands and jump on a Twitch stream.
Yeah. And Max says, "Not this year, pal. This year's my year."
There's also the third situation, which is Max Verstappen wins the championship. Both Oscar and Lando are miserable.
There's a message on Lando's phone that says, "Don't worry, we'll get him this year, champ." And then
Zach Brown, we'll get him this year, champ. Zach Brown says to Oscar, "I think it's your turn to get the coffees." And then
it's
the
only
car
fair,
is nowhere.
Oscar. Remember Hungary 2024.
And then the car's shit.
Oh, wow. Anyway, we've joked about McLaren enough. We're basically on McLaren now. Should we do McLaren?
Let's do McLaren.
Okay, so if you haven't picked up on the subtle hints that we've been dropping, that the world has been dropping, right? Because my Twitter feed every race weekend now is just full of memed team radio bubbles that are like, "Please let Lando through. Please box to let Lando through. Please allow Lando. Please throw it in a wall. Please do this." Like, it's every single post, every time anything happens in the race, anytime.
And to be honest, it's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny. So if you haven't been paying attention, it's the McLaren team orders. And it's so funny because we spoke on this podcast. It might even have been the last podcast we did together, Tim, where we had the numbers about how McLaren could get a 1,000 point season. And
that was the last one we did.
And we were doing the maths, and there's some great clips of you on the internet somewhere of like being just flabbergasted at how numbers work. And it's one of my favorite bits to listen to of our time together on this podcast.
600.
Whoa, no way.
I didn't know they went that joking.
High. Anyway, McLaren were looking so good for a 1,000 point season, and that was even after Lando Norris decided to drive his car like a bit of a chav in Zandvoort and blow the engine up.
And drove into the back
possible.
of Oscar.
In Canada.
Yeah.
It was still possible. That was until we got to the Italian Grand Prix, because they needed to win the Italian Grand Prix, and they didn't win the Italian Grand Prix because Max Verstappen won the Italian Grand Prix. But what happened in Monza does not stay in Monza for McLaren, because it was pretty bad. So how did it go down? Well, we have to go back to our boy Charles Leclerc, who really has just memed the entire grid this year, really. There was the seat full of water. There's the words of wisdom. There's Leo Leclerc, who keeps turning up at every race. Like, it's perfect. But because he tried to undercut the McLarens and was doing so pretty well, thank you very much, McLaren were faced with a bit of a weird situation where they couldn't pit Lando first. So they couldn't catch Max, and they were trying to alternate to Charles behind and pit for the soft tires, right? You remember this?
Yep.
I know it was 3 weeks ago, but...
Yep.
Yeah. So they extended and extended and extended, and Lando was leading the race, and Max was about 10 seconds behind. And Leclerc was catching. So they said to Lando, "Oscar, we need to pit." And Lando was like, "Well, actually, I have it here." So on lap 43... Will Joseph says, "Lando, gap to Verstappen is now 11.1. We will box this lap onto the soft tyre and I'll come up one," whatever that means. Norris.
I'll come and give you a high five when you're in the pit box.
Norris says, "Did you want to box the other car first?" Will says, "Yep, we'll do that. We'll swap it round, so stay out." Lando says, "Well, only if he doesn't undercut, otherwise I'll box first." Will says, "There will be no undercut," which is just perfect. Confirming we are staying out. And Lando says, "Yeah, confirm." And then what happens is...
subsequently, there is an undercut.
They pit Oscar first onto the soft tyres. Lando's on the mediums, which have been on for 43 laps of this race. They are nowhere. And he's in clean air, and he's not chasing anything. Oscar goes into almost quali mode on some brand new soft tyres. And then Lando has a slow pit stop. It's like 4.6 seconds, 4.8 seconds, because the rear wheel didn't go on properly, something like that. And there is indeed an undercut. Shock. 5 laps later, Lando, we're going to re-establish the order, so he will let you pass, then you will be free to race. He might let you into turn 1 this time round. And Tom Stellard, who is Oscar's engineer, says, Oscar, this is a bit like Hungary last year. We pitted in this order for team reasons. Please let Lando pass. You're free to race. Piastri says, I mean, we said that a slow pit stop was part of racing. I don't really get what's changed here. But if you really want me to do it, then I'll do it. Tim.
That's just a lie. Hungary 2024 was not a strategic situation. That was what is known as a complete fuck up.
Yes.
So to use that as leverage to account for the mistake made by the engineers in the pit box is frankly unacceptable and unfair.
Hungary 2024 was Oscar Piastri's first race win.
Correct.
I'm just going to leave that there for just a second. They used his first race win as blackmail against him to give Lando a position back because their rear wheel gunner is useless.
And
the sick fucks.
It's just it's nuts.
It's nuts. Why would you do this?
But it's nuts. Period.
Yeah.
Then consider that these two are in a championship fight, and the guy being asked to move is winning that fight.
Yes. This is complex on so many levels because, first of all, Lando Norris on lap 43 offers his championship rival a favourable strategy.
Yeah.
Despite having put in the work in qualifying to be ahead in the race, to battle Max, to be bold enough to extend the tyre life, he is leading the McLarens. He is leading the race at this point and says, now, you know what, guys? Box him first. Give him the favourable strategy. Why? Why has he done that? And then McLaren just go, well, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah, sure, let's do that. Like, what the fuck? And then we're going to get demonetized, but whatever, who cares? This is a what the fuck kind of moment, so it's fine.
I think it's very interesting because we always looked at Mercedes and then Red Bull as these units.
Yeah.
And the phrase, and it was at the start of 22 with Ferrari and Red Bull.
Yeah.
And everyone kept saying, a Ferrari, a championship ready team.
Yeah.
And of course, that doesn't really make sense.
It's a silly question given their history.
It doesn't really make sense. But actually, I think the people that have best described what that means is
McLaren.
Is not Ferrari in that year. They were not championship ready. But it's McLaren now. Because McLaren are not championship ready.
They are not championship ready. And by that, I know what Tim means. We haven't had this discussion beforehand, but I know exactly what he means. To win a championship, you have to pick one driver.
To win the drivers, yes.
You have to. They're going to win the constructors easily. In fact, they should have won it in Baku if Oscar hadn't put it in a wall. But
there's only one driver that can win.
There is only one driver that can win. And at some point, you have to make the decision because otherwise, what happens is this, right? Where you're bribing one driver with his first race win that was like it was somehow given to him on a plate, which it wasn't. They said he earned it and they just, because they gave Lando the favoured strategy, he managed to undercut him.
Both times. Because it was a 2-star.
Yeah, both times that he managed to undercut him. And I remember having a conversation about Hungary 2024 when we first started this, and it was horrible. And I can remember writing an article for it way back before the blog even existed, when it was just a Facebook page, to say how horrible that move was, that they did that. To then blackmail your championship leading driver, right, with his first race win like it was some kind of golden goose from Lando Norris, because their pit mechanic, who is the same pit mechanic, by the way, for Oscar Piastri's car, right? It's the same pit crew, It is one pit crew, right? To then go, oh, well, 2 seconds. 2 seconds is nothing. Nothing. It is absolutely nothing. Oscar Piastri put in the work for that race, and then he was robbed. You want to talk about robbery like Abu Dhabi 2021? It was right here, Monza 2025. Robbed. And the people who can't see why this is a big deal. So I explained, she doesn't listen, so I can say this. I explained to my wife why this was a big deal, right? And she's not much of an F1 fan, and she didn't watch the Monza race. But she has seen the memes, and she doesn't understand why it's such a big deal, because she's not in this world. And then, as if by magic, a notification appeared on our TV that said Formula One had just released the 2021 Azerbaijan extended highlights. So I peeked, and I watched it. And I'd forgotten how good that race was. But that's a side note. Azerbaijan that year was earlier in the year. It was like race 5 or 6. Not really knowing who was going to win the world championship that year after 5 or 6 races. Max was leading the championship, but Lewis was right there. It could have gone either way, right? But you watch that race now, 4 years later, and you realize how crucial that race was to Lewis's championship hopes. Because if he just brought it home in second, if he hadn't even tried to dive bomb Perez up the inside,
and have his big lockup,
and just accepted 18 points, he would have won the world championship. And you can't, even if you assume that everything else happens exactly the same way it did, which is it never will. But even if you watch it with that and just go, that's where he lost it, right? It's the same thing here. You've changed the result of a race so that now there's a 6-point swing, which isn't a lot, but it is when you consider the gap between them. And also you've changed the way Oscar approaches the rest of the races. And the way Lando approaches the rest of the races. So you could say that Oscar's reaction on the start line in Baku and Oscar's reaction on the first lap in Baku is a consequence of what happened in Monza. He's driving with a different attitude now.
I completely agree, because everyone said, oh, this is such an out of character mistake, both in qualifying to crash in the first place, then to miss the start, and then to crash in the race. Everyone's like, oh, this is so uncharacteristic of Oscar. And then you think, actually, what happened between the last characteristic Oscar and now is
his team screwed him over.
His team
publicly.
Yeah. I think that would probably make me a bit uncharacteristic.
Yeah, I do too. His team aired their dirty laundry on the radio and then made him let his teammate through for 3 extra points. For a 6-point swing. Why? And then I don't think McLaren realized the can of worms they've opened yet, but I hope that they will, because what happens if we have a Brazil? This is too young for you. If we have a Brazil 2007 again, and I say that like it's too young. You're too young for this. Some of our listeners might not remember. So let me just remind you what happened. I can't tell you what happened in the entire season. Lewis should have won that year, but I remember at China, he ended up in the gravel trap, and that really narrowed the points, and it was Lewis versus Alonso versus Kimi, who had won the last 2 races and brought himself back into the fight.
Was charging.
Alonso and Lewis are too busy fighting each other, and Kimi wins the title. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're on now. But what happens if we end up with Max and Lando and Oscar going into Abu Dhabi, all able to win the world title? Let's say Max needs to win, Oscar needs to finish second to win, and Lando needs to win to win.
Sure.
Okay? But Max is leading the race, and Oscar is in second, and Lando is in third. So currently, Oscar is the world champion. Yeah. Oscar pits. He has a slow pit stop.
Whoa!
He falls behind Lando Norris. Now what? Now what, McLaren? Now what are you going to do? Right?
Yeah.
Do you ask Norris to get out of the way, thus giving Oscar Piastri the World Drivers' Championship?
Hi, Lando. Just a quick one. Do you remember? Do you remember Monza earlier this year?
This is like Monza this year. Like, what?
We did this for a reason. Actually, we wanted to give Oscar a slow start.
It was a slow pit stop for fairness.
Yeah. Whatever.
And yet, I can absolutely 100% see this happening.
Yeah.
I can absolutely see this happening. This isn't a scenario that is out of the ordinary, right? Max is good in Abu Dhabi. Red Bull are good in Abu Dhabi. McLaren might not be. They weren't particularly great last year, right?
No.
It's not like they were leaps and bounds ahead. I can absolutely see a situation where this happens.
Yeah.
And Piastri just goes, remember Monza?
Yeah. Yeah. They've just opened. You're right. Jokes aside, they have just destroyed themselves.
Yeah.
Through poor decision making.
Yeah.
And there's no amount of driver coaching that Will Joseph can do over the radio that's going to fix that.
Tom Stallard could, though.
Tom Stallard could do anything.
He can do anything. Mark Webber must be fuming, by the way.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be a fly in that room.
I would not. No. Yeah.
But it's fiery at the moment. We'll see what happens in... where are we next? Singapore.
Singapore, yeah.
Where McLaren are good and Red Bull are bad.
Typically, yeah.
So...
I don't know when that started, because I remember Red Bull 10 years ago, at Vettel time, used to be great in Singapore. So I don't know how that happened, but
yeah,
it's supposed to be like a mechanical grip aero track, which is where they were like the kings.
I know, but then they were the kings of straight line.
Yeah,
but yeah, which might kill all the Max hopes, unless we're still waiting for an Oscar Lando collision. And I think we still will get it.
We've sort of had one. But I think we'll still get...
No, a proper one. A proper one.
Yeah, I think we'll still get one. We might get one this weekend. That'd be quite interesting. And Charles Leclerc wins the...
Boom. Charles Leclerc wins.
Should we talk about Ferrari? We've got a little bit of time left.
Ferrari are bad.
But Carlos Sainz got a podium.
Carlos Sainz's podium was awesome. I think it was so clear. It was so lovely to hear how emotional he was. I think he's quite an emotional driver and an emotional guy.
Yeah.
And I think why he is so loved is because he really does throw himself into a project.
Yeah.
And cares so deeply about the team. And I think the fact that he was so open and saying, like, this is my favorite podium of my career. You can't imagine what this feels like. This is incredible. Was lovely. And whether or not you think that the Hamilton move was good or bad, I think everyone will agree that Sainz was an undeserved casualty.
Yeah.
So to see him successful again, because in his exit interview, he was asked what will he miss, and he said, "I'll miss the podiums, I'll miss the celebrations."
Yeah.
And he got there.
Foreshadowing. And
he got there. And again, and that's
yeah.
great. You know, that was really nice to see. So awesome. Love that, man.
I can see him back at Ferrari in a couple of years.
Oh, for sure. Oh, I think it's more likely he'll replace Hamilton again.
You think?
Yeah.
Then this is just the rebuild project thing. A gesture of goodwill, if you will, from Ferrari.
I just think he's a great driver. I think he's just really good.
What if he replaces Max at Red Bull when Max goes to McLaren to replace Norris?
Driver swap. Look, I think we will have a lot of fun end of the season.
When you put the F1 game on maximum substitutes,
yeah.
suddenly Max Verstappen ends up at Haas.
Yeah. Esteban Ocon is leading the world championship
in an Aston
But then
Martin.
he gets a 5-second penalty. So.
Yeah, naturally. The Lewis thing is pretty insane. I don't want to be too harsh on him. He's got some personal stuff going on literally right now with his dog, which is sad. But he should have had a podium by now, I would have thought.
Charles had 2, 1.
Monaco.
Yeah.
and
So I think by that logic, no. Like I think
Canada?
maybe
no,
not.
I don't know.
No, but Canada was 4.
I don't know. Let me look.
So I don't know. I think you could say he should on his history and his merit, but
Hasn't he got a podium in like every year he's ever raced apart from one, which was the year Mercedes broke that streak?
I remember there was a win in every year until 2022.
Oh, somebody's waiting for us.
Oh,
Are they doing a toll? I'm not sure. Charles has got Belgium, Austria, Spain, Saudi.
Okay, so 4. Right, yeah.
And
Hamilton.
Monaco.
Okay, so 5. Hamilton should have had one by now. Then.
Yeah. Out of 17 races, Charles Leclerc has got 5 podiums.
God, that's not bad.
It's not bad, and
I say that we're Ferrari are hopeless, but are they?
3, 4 fourth places. Blah. That's a string of the mouth. A 5th, a 6th, a 7th, an 8th, a 9th.
And a load of thirds.
A DSQ and a retirement and a weird 14th in Silverstone.
So yes, Lewis should have had a podium.
Yeah. Is this his first year with that one? Lewis Hamilton. For record, I mean, I'm going off their Wikipedia entries here. Could be inaccurate. God, Lewis's Wikipedia page is long. He podiumed last year. He podiumed in 23, and he podiumed in 22, and then he's had a win every year before then. This will if he doesn't get a win this year,
he had his
right?
sprint win.
But
Grand Prix he's not been.
If he doesn't get a win this year, this will be his second year in. Oh no, third year.
22, 23
4 years that he's not won a race, and it will be his first year in which he's not podiumed.
Bloody hell!
He's had 1, 2, 3 fourth places in Imola, Austria, Silverstone.
So that was all earlier.
Yeah,
I thought he was the 4th in Canada. Or was
6th.
that okay?
No, Piastri finished 4th in Canada after he was
after he was violently attacked,
violently rear-ended.
Yeah. Okay. So lots to still look out for. What would be cool? Final topic. What would be cool to see rest of the year?
In motorsport or in F1?
Well, both generally.
Generally, I would like to see Bezcecki take second in the Riders' Championship in MotoGP. I think he's been the second best rider all season. I think he's been way more consistent than Alex Marquez.
Yeah, Alex keeps falling.
I would like to see Marc win his title in Japan this weekend. And I would like to see the Honda guys go up and give him a big hug. I think that'd be sweet. That's my bike wish. And my F1 wish, I'd like to see Max Verstappen win the 2025 Drivers' Championship in Abu Dhabi. And I'd like Alex Albon to DNF so they can come on the radio and be like, oh my God, yes, Max. Like he was in 21. Please.
I would like
to see Charles Leclerc win a race.
I'd like a Ferrari win. Oh, wow.
Shark.
Controversial. I'd like to see...
I'd actually like to see some Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton-esque fights between Oscar Piastri.
That's what I was going to say. I want to see some screw you on the radio. It doesn't feel like a championship fight.
No. I'd like to see Kevin Magnussen get a race win in WEC.
Yeah. He's getting closer. Speaking of WEC.
We're going to do a big
next week.
Yeah, next time
round. big whack. We'll do Kota and we'll do Fuji, which is this weekend.
We realized halfway through recording this podcast that there was Fuji this weekend, and it would be better if we did
both at the same time.
At the same time.
And do another Omnibus, baby.
And do them justice, right? Not just like slam them in the middle of F1 and MotoGP.
Exactly.
Because those two sports are giants and we can talk about them for a long time. And we should also give that same respect to WEC.
True.
Yeah, I'd like to see Pierre Gasly maybe get some points. I think he deserves some more points. Maybe Liam Lawson get a podium as well. And Yuki Tsunoda. There you go.
Liam Lawson.
Some points for Gasly for justice, and then a podium for the other Red Bull sponsored drivers.
Cool.
And Max to win.
I think Max winning would be wild.
I can't see a situation where Max winning isn't funny. So
no one loses except McLaren. Okay.
Let's call it there.
That's a nice list. We'll touch base with that.
Yeah. 7 more to go.
Q4. Yeah. 7 more to go. Peace.